Venture Corporation in the amount of $658,950. All in favor, vote aye.
You should stipulate that was the low bid. Stipulate that was the low bid.
I did stipulate Venture.
I said stipulate that was the low bid. So
Oh, the low
That
bid.
was the low bid concerning the 29%
Yeah.
life cycle.
Right.
Correct.
It is the low bid.
I'll say.
Okay, all in
And
favor?
I say
Aye. So the bid has been accepted. Before we leave today, we'll make the two motions, the one for the resolution and the one for moving the funding from 2016 budget into the road and bridge account.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
you want me to do that now?
Yeah, we could do that right now.
Let me see you pay.
Make a motion directing the county treasurer to transfer all road and bridge funds from 213, which is the fund number, capital improvement, to 007, special road improvement, by a resolution. You second the motion?
I second.
Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. So we can get the treasurer to do, or well, you will do the resolution and we can sign it at the next meeting. Second motion is directing the county treasurer to transfer to the special road improvement all 2016 budgeted funds in the road and bridge fund account. So this would transfer the funding that is set aside
Let's see here. Notes.
Okay, it's in the amount of $340,000. And that will be transferred to special road improvements.
I'll second.
You'll second the motion? All in favor of the motion, please vote. Aye. Okay, Dave, that's got all your money in one fund account. So, at a later date, you could come to us on the transfer of the special machinery money, but the auditors are actually recommending that we don't do these transfers until the end of the year. Now, we did make a decision on the other funds, which would be the routine equipment account. We're not going to move those until the end of the year. But you have your own funds in your own account, so we're not going to make a decision at this time on this remaining fund of yours. That's why if you need that funding for that new machine, we got some money set aside for it in the budget.
Yeah, I have plenty.
I'm sure you have other money there too, but from prior year.
You might, what you told me about the street director's salary and get reimbursed by the state.
Oh, yeah. I was reading on the Noxious Weed program. Department of Agriculture has a provision where we can apply for up to 25% of the budgeted personnel costs, and if they have the funds available, they'll send them down to the county. You might want to take a look at that.
That's the bill they're proposing, correct?
Pardon?
That's the bill that they're proposing.
No, that's already in
Already in place,
existence.
okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's a potential source of additional funding for that program.
Okay.
Okay?
You want me Do you want to stay on schedule or?
What do they want to do?
Do you have anything?
I got some other stuff, but part of it I'll wait for Carol.
It doesn't matter, you can go
Well,
that day.
we've got these two gentlemen first. Yeah, if you're.
I got some, and plus I got my reports that we
Okay.
haven't got ready, so. I'll get some more stuff together.
All right. Who's on the order? All right.
I was gonna bring up that one, but not, she's gonna announce it to me, but we can actually has to go through it,
Okay.
because I haven't read through all that, to see what we have to do.
I-
Yeah, I was just gonna announce it, and that's
Okay.
it.
But we just
Just
got
have
our
our
confirmation for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we did.
All right.
Art, would you and your co-worker here come on up? You're on the agenda next.
We are going to make our yearly report about the activities at the senior center. Never met you.
Nicole Berline.
Art Kruger.
Nice to meet you,
This
sir.
is Ken Quigley.
Hello.
I'm the treasurer at the senior center. He's chairman, president of the board.
Okay.
So, to begin with, we told these guys about what happens financially at the senior center, but you are not tuned into that. I think that's the first thing I will do is, we have two sets of finances at the center. One is that we are one of 18 or so meal sites that are not governed but work under the Northwest Kansas Area on Aging. And they set meal prices for seniors and so forth. And so when people come in to eat at the senior center, they sign in, and then there is a voluntary donation of $3.25 that goes into a box, and that pays for the food and for the salary of the head cook, which is Irene Hill right now, and a few supplies. That money then every time after a meal is taken into the back and counted, and a deposit is made in the bank, and then the money is forwarded to the Northwest Kansas Area on Aging in Hayes, and that takes care of the food and the head cook and some supplies. And it's out of our hands really, because we can do nothing with that money. It's definitely set for that reason. Then we have the other financial thing that I say this, the St. Francis Senior Center Incorporated owns the building. You've been by there, I'm sure, and a lot of the contents. So aside from the voluntary $3.25, which we can't have no control over, we are responsible for all of the other expenses to keep the senior center going. And so that's what we will report on this morning is what our responsibilities are at the center. You bring your copy. I think there's two there. Got enough? Okay, so our report is for everything expense-wise, except for the food, and it is a somewhat, you don't have a copy? Somewhat, it's a little bit of a major undertaking. If we get into the income, the item of upkeep is an item that we have for donations from people, and we encourage the people that eat at the senior center to donate $10 or $15 a month just to have a senior center available. Not everyone does that, but we encourage as much of that as we can. In addition, in the upkeep amount is several fairly major donations. One is from the Thanksgiving meal that the Catholic Church ladies put on, about $700. The Christian Church homemakers, or I don't know if that's the right term, but I think they closed their account at the Christian Church and donated that money to us, and that was about $600. Plus we have donations from the thrift store, the Salem Lutheran Church women donated money, and so we get some of those outside donations. And this year, it's a good thing that we did because we were running fairly close. Memorials was $65, and that money is put into a special fund designated for special projects for people that have a memorial. We rent the place out for $75 a day, and that amount last year amounted to $455. In Cheyenne County, the commissioners here, until the middle of last year, budgeted $5,090 for the senior center. And during the year last year, we approached the commissioners, and they agreed to increase that amount to match the amount that the city budgets for the senior center. So they did that, and so the donation, the budgeted amount from the commissioners in Cheyenne County is $8,000. The budgeted amount from the city is $8,000. We have two projects during the year to try to raise money. We have a pancake day, and the income was $1,308. The net proceeds to us was $793. We have a soup supper in the fall. The donations for that was $1,000. The net after our expenses was $712. Then we received some grant money from the St. Francis Community Foundation Senior Living Fund to pay for a new freezer, a big freezer, because our freezer space is at a capacity. So our income was $28,966. If you take out the donation for the foundation Senior Living Fund, that amounted to $24,798. So actually that wasn't the actual year in and year out figure that we have to go by. Expenses, remember we have to pay for everything other than the food and the head cook. The telephone bill, $527, cleaning bill was $960. The light and water bill, $33,576. The gas, Midwest Energy Gas, $1,034. And then we have to send to the Northwest Kansas Area on Aging $13,600 we did last year. It varies a little bit, but not much. That money pays for the two extra cooks that we have. We have three cooks. The head cook, which is taken care of in the $3.25. The two extra cooks, we have to fund those. And what happens is, to the cooks turn in a timesheet to the Northwest Kansas Area on Aging. They do all the bookwork, like, you know, the Social Security, whatever. All those things are taken out. Then they mail a check to the cooks. Then they send me twice a month, they send me a recap of what the cost was for the cooks. And then I send them a check, and usually that amounts to about $1,200 a month. The total last year was $13,600, so it is the major item in our budget. Supplies are $422, repairs $95, insurance has kind of a little bit of a project for us because it is hard to get insurance on the senior center. The liability is, to insurance companies, the liability is pretty great. You have 40 or 50 people that are 60, 70, 80 years old going down there, and I think that's the big problem. Plus, the insurance company we had canceled the insurance because of the 2 hailstorms we had, not the one last year, but the 2 prior to that. So we had to start looking around, and the only place we found insurance was with Roxy, with Nigel Insurance. And the premium for that was $1,722, and the deductible, the hail deductible, is $2,500. So it's a major item, really. Then Beverly Wilkening is kind of a office manager as such. She keeps track of the lists where people sign in, and she counts the money for the food and so forth. And so we supplement her wage. Her wages come out of Hayes also, and we supplement that $50 a month. So, and then the new freezer cost is $3,818. You notice above the senior living fund through the foundation granted us $440,160. We wrote to them and told them what we had, $300 that the freezer costs less than what they told us to put it into a special fund and use it for other projects, which we did. The expenses for the pancake day were $514. Expenses for the soup's up at $297. We have to pay a Kansas Corporation filing fee. That's $40. We donate some money to the Silver-Haired Legislature. It's actually, we donated $100, but we had to pay a $25 filing fee for Carol Redding to run for that office, and I understand in the paper she said she wasn't going to do that anymore.
Right, we need to talk to her on that too, because we also appropriated some funding for that. So if that's not going to be filled when it comes budget time, then there's no reason for us to set aside funding.
And then we had to put an awning on the little sloping roof over the east side kitchen door, because that water just came off of the awning and right onto the sidewalk. It was ruining the concrete and so forth. So the awning was $270. We had $116 miscellaneous. That's for such things as window washing and all that stuff. So our expenses for last year were $27,669. If you take out the only item that isn't an ongoing expense for us, the new freezer, that amount would be $23,851. So we came out positive last year, $1,297, which if it hadn't been for the increase that the commissioners last year, we would have had to take some money out of our special fund or something.
Yeah.
So we thank the commissioners for that. And we hope you keep budgeting the amount of money each year, because we feel like the senior center is a vital part of the community. Last year, we served 6,132 meals at the center, and then we delivered 2,002 meals to people that can't get to the center. So we had 8,134 meals served at the senior center. And so the ongoing expenses, which we can't do anything about because they are just basic expenses to keep the place open, is $23,851. There is not much we can do about any of these things. The lights and water and the insurance all have to be paid. Mm-hmm. And so that's the amount that we have to kind of figure out we need to get. So that's the deal from last year. I ask for any questions or comments or whatever.
I think we can continue supporting your function budget-wise. And if you anticipate getting into trouble, please let us know early. It's easier to find something as far as funding goes with a little advance notice than it is under a crisis situation.
The main thing I hope that you do when you talk about your budget for the next year is to include the $8,000 again. If it wasn't for the amount budgeted for the city and the county, we wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't survive.
Exist.
Yeah, we realize that.
We had bad years in 2010 and 2011. That era of functions at the center where our expenses were about $3,500 a year more than our income. So we cashed out a small CD account at Bank West. We cashed out a savings account at Bank West. And to temporarily keep us going, we borrowed, or not borrowed, we transferred $5,000 out of a small savings account to center, which the next year we did put back because we just ran out of money at the end of the year. But those years were bad years, and if it had gone that way, those 3 years forward, in 2018, we'd have to close it % down, but luckily we've gotten a little bit more. At the same time that happened, we asked the city council to increase their budget, which was $5,000. They increased it to $8,000. So that's why we kind of caught ourselves back up a little bit.
Okay.
So,
Thank you for the detailed report. Very
A
helpful.
real good financial statement here, so we'll keep this in our budget file for this next budget that's coming up. So,
because I think there are things in the community that just are an asset to, and this is old people,
yeah,
and so we need.
you're not old.
Listen, all you guys are going to get there one of these days.
It's actually our majority population in the county, so it's.
The $3.25 voluntary donation is people 60 or over. If you're 60 or younger, then you would pay $6.50. So, and we have an average of, it varies quite a bit, but there's 30, 35 people plus what we deliver. And so it's a pretty good sized project. Now, Bird City also has, you budget money for the Bird City Senior Center also, but they don't have a meal site, which as you can see here, the money used for serving meals is pretty considerable. So, any other questions or comments, or do you have any?
No, I'm very impressed with your financial statement. It was nice meeting both of you.
What is how do you pronounce your last name?
Romine.
Romine. I was trying to think, how do you pronounce that?
I'll have to swing by and visit you guys. So, nice meeting you.
You want to take a break? We're going to take a break for 5 minutes.
So I told them here we would work all of the details. But if you saw those on Facebook, was the facts about the railroad, the two people. Also, I put it on Facebook, but I don't have.
Talk about that. In the meeting, or the next meeting, have that talk about
With my facts, because I'm going to pretty much the same thing on Facebook. Yes, because it all facts. So it's like the diagnosis of her own. She was a strong, so that's why
And that's what I was afraid of. I tried to explain it to
yes, I was on the other side of the house painting. So I was doing my diesel work. I wasn't getting his diesel. And then we moved up our clouds out. So I got my 2 bucks and my box. I got half of it.
I don't need a person. Just make sure it's nice.
This is how you do it, Doug. He's got, well, tomorrow's dad and mom duty because they've got their appointments in Ray again. So he's going to take her now. Oh, good. That's that all day affair when that happens. I know, you don't have to go. Just as long as he's available, he's going. He's doing it all. So, yeah. So tell Reed what they said. Hey, Reed. So Karen was here when they were talking about it this morning. Yeah. It's all what they talked about. So it just gives me heads up. So is Brett's. Sounds like Brett is too. So they're in good moods today.
Did you get all that I sent last week? I sent it to you and Amanda?
I'm always gonna be there last week.
Okay, I see you guys at press release. You had
Yeah,
asked
got
me
there, I'm not
what was
sure
going on
what
on
they're
Main
told.
Street. And we filed charges on
Well, afterwards,
someone
the
for
last
something
week.
in that search, so I
But
sent you
then I was out
guys
this weekend and I was like,
just to keep you in the loop.
Been in there, yeah, phone's been.
I sent it, no, because that all went
because
down,
I'll just lock them up for about.
what day did that go down? Wednesday? It all went down Wednesday.
What's that?
If, look at your, no, if you didn't get it, let me know, so,
Oh, that'd be fun.
yeah, I was trying to keep you guys confused, so.
I don't think I would sit across from you. Sounds like you're innocent too.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm coughing too. My voice is going away.
Well, and that was the thing, is I give you more help with it, just give you what, it's not a lot, but give you something on the
I
back.
had granddaughter coughing on me all weekend.
So, yeah, if you didn't get it, let me know.
For Carol,
She said within 10 days.
Oh, you did? Oh, I didn't know that. You have a
Yeah. That's all we got. I'm looking.
Okay, okay. I seriously had to write it down.
No, it's okay.
I do have it.
You do, okay, good.
I got all kinds of things. I'll email a copy of this to Brett as well, so that he has it. So the first part is just informational for my travel schedule. On March 11th, I need to attend the KDOT Centralized District 8 Transportation Meeting. It's a requirement for us participating and applying for the KDOT Transportation Grant. The cost is about $200, $212, and that was included in my budget that was approved. So that's just informational that I'll be attending that, and it's already been budgeted for. The second is part of the Rural Healthcare Task Force grant. The hospital has a piece of that grant, and then emergency management has, or emergency services has a part of that grant. There is a component in there in which we're doing mental health education. So through the hospital's portion of the funding, they're getting 3 people certified to teach a nonviolent crisis intervention class. And they've asked that I do that so that I can come back and train all of the EMS people, the fire and the law enforcement. And then the hospital is sending someone that will take care of the law enforcement, or I'm sorry, the hospital and the clinic personnel and the Good Samaritan, so like the medical people. And then they are sending Chris Rice, who is a therapist, a licensed therapist, and she will be providing that training to all of the educators in the community. And that's part of our grant. All of the expenses for that training are covered through the grant, and those funds flow through the hospital, not through the county. So this is just informational. The county won't incur any expense. It's just my time attending that training class. But the county benefits because I'll be able to come back and provide that free of cost to all of the county employees. So any questions about the travel? Okay. Some grant updates. We received notice on Friday that the Hansen Foundation will be funding, they are pledging $300,000 towards the St. Francis Community Swimming Pool project. It's provisional based on the city being able to come up with the funds to actually implement the project. So they pledged the funds, but they won't release the funds unless they actually move forward.
Is the city required to match that amount? Or
They're not required to match it, but I mean, in essence, they are, because they have to be able to actually build the swimming pool. So they have to have enough funding to do that project. Right now, the city, the committee that's in charge of the swimming pool project is estimating $1.5 million to do the project. They could scale it back a little bit. They don't have to necessarily replace the bathhouse. It's in really bad repair. It would behoove them if they could do that. So there's a lot of things going on there. The St. Francis Community Foundation, the funds that have been raised for the swimming pool are $161,742. to date, 161,742.
Okay.
And that's been through, like, Scott Jenkins did the marathon
Pledges
run.
and,
Yeah, their
okay.
dinners that they do. And then the city of St. Francis has $75,000 right now set aside. So they're close to $600,000 now towards that project with the Hanson Pledge. So the Hanson Pledge doubled what they really had invested so far. So they're a lot farther along today than they were on Thursday last week. So Dave's here, and I told you on that paperwork yet.
It just says we need to have confirmation within 10 days.
Okay. We were found out that we received the $32,000 from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Foundation or Division to do the South Fork Republican River Restoration Project. And back in February of last year, Dave came to the board and asked for basically a $5,000 commitment. $2,500 was in-kind services and $2,500 for tree removal. So we did get that. It's to remove Russian olives from the riverbed.
And salt cedars.
Salt cedars, yeah.
And so, like, the Russian olives is at 55 gallons per day that each tree is sucking. Is that like what they say? I think that's what I read. Was like
It could be
55.
salt cedars are higher yet.
Yeah. So, I mean,
They
it's,
add them to the noxious weed list.
They won't do that now.
Oh, I thought they was going to.
I think they talked about
the
that.
Russian olives are, but the salt cedars are not. On there?
Neither one of them
Okay.
are noxious
Okay.
weeds.
So, I mean, it's a great project,
Yep.
and good job on getting that funding. And do we need to just respond?
We just got confirmed within 10 business days that we're still have our $2,500 available for the project from the weed director, from the weed department,
From which?
from the noxious weed department.
So while I said no action is needed, we do
The
need
funding
action.
is there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion to state that they will go ahead and match that this year?
If it's already in the budget, I don't think it's
No.
necessary.
Okay.
It's
So-
already in there.
You could, Dave, you can go ahead and reply
Okay.
to acknowledge those funds then. Great. The Hanson Foundation has awarded emergency management, not emergency services, a grant for $7,181.78. There's no matching funds required for that, and it's to purchase 3 tablets and software and accessories, 2 large screen TV display monitors, and a color laser printer that will be used to equip our emergency operations center for the county. And that right now is designated as the St. Francis Emergency Building. The equipment is mobile so that we can also take it if the Emergency Operations Center has to be moved to Bird City or gets moved to another location. So basically it'll be stationed at the St. Francis Emergency Building, but it will be moved wherever we spin up the Emergency Operations Center. So Ryan, did you have any other that you wanted to?
Oh, I was just gonna mention on this, too, while they fund, they did come and they toured our building, and we told them what we needed, and they did agree to go ahead and fund it, not only for the EOC, this will also be beneficial for training, for all the departments that can do training in our building. This will have big monitors on the walls that then we can also, like she said, move. But also, not just for EOC, that it also goes into our contingency plans. If for some reason we would have to move the courthouse, like the courthouse had to be evacuated or whatever, everybody had to move up there. This will give us some computer equipment to make that more beneficial.
So there's no matching funds. It's completely paid for. We would just need a motion to go ahead and, as soon as those funds are received, which we expect to receive those funds this week, to go ahead and purchase that equipment, not to exceed the amount of the grant.
I thought we already did that.
That was for a projector, and that was through the St. Francis Community Foundation. This is actual computer equipment, and it's a little bit, takes us one step farther.
You want me to do that?
I think we ought to make sure that the funding's here and make the motion, don't you?
Well, you can make it contingent.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
as soon as we receive the funding.
All right. You want to do it now? Approve
Approved $7,181.78.
Okay, I'll second the motion. The motion is to approve $7,181.78. There is no
Just
man-
wait.
Contingent.
Contingent on the receipt of the funding from Hanson Foundation. All in favor, please vote. Aye.
Thank you. Before we go to the community development block grant, just on the second page, just a few more informational things for you guys. These are grants that I'm working on. I'm working on a Sunflower Foundation grant and a Kansas Health Foundation grant. The Sunflower Foundation grant is $55,000. The Kansas Health Foundation is $25,000. Those funds would be for trail expansion, and we've been working with the city of St. Francis, and it would be to put a ADA compliant trail around Keller's Pond, so that there would be a walking stroller trail. It's also more accessible to people with disabilities who want to go fishing. And the matching funds that are required for each of those grants will come from themselves. So they are matching for each other. And the St. Francis Community Foundation has pledged $30,000 for the project. So for the county, there is no matching funds required. It's just informational. And I'm also working on the Cheyenne County Clinic's annual primary care clinic grant. And it's $121,450 that's used towards clinic salaries. There's no matching funds required for that. And my deadline on that is March 15th. And that's an annual grant that we apply for. So.
And this is coming out of where?
It's a state of Kansas grant, basically.
I know that in February they had to take $140,000 for payroll out of funded depreciation.
Yeah, that's on the hospital side.
Oh.
This is for the clinic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's because they are a rural health clinic that they're eligible to get this type of funding. So you have to be a frontier rural community, and you have to have a rural health care clinic.
Okay.
Those are the criteria to apply for those. And then we're still waiting on decisions for the hazard mitigation program, which was $83,475 with a 25% matching funds between the cities of Bird City, St. Francis, and the county for 2 community safe rooms. We should be hearing, I think, in April on that one. The KDOT Transportation Alternatives Safe Routes for School in Bird City, it's a $200,000 grant with a $50,000 local match, and the Bird City Century 2 Foundation has pledged that $50,000 match. They should be making that decision in March, so this month we should hear. KDOT's Public Transportation Grant, that's for the vans, or the van to get public transportation going. $62,000 in grant funds, $27,000 local match between city and counties. We should hear in April. And the Assistance for Firefighters Grant, safety equipment, protective gear for the fire and EMS departments is $91,675. Matching funds is just under $5,000. It should be in the fire budget that for last year, for 2016 that we discussed. I believe that it's in there. I think we talked about that when we actually signed the paperwork.
Don't know if it's still there or not.
Okay. So I know when we had you guys sign that paperwork, and I think it was in February, we had a discussion in it. I believe it was in, I don't know if it was in the fire department's funds or if it was in county general. But that was on that spreadsheet that I had provided with anticipated grants. And the Kansas Board of Emergency Medical Services, it was the 2 EKG monitors for $31,327 with $10,442 in matching funds for EMS. We should hear about that probably this month. And I'm sorry, the firefighters we should be hearing by April. And then I have a grant that I wrote for the gymnastics program for Cheyenne County. It's through the Rec Commission, and the schools basically doesn't really have a home, but there's about 40 girls that do gymnastics, and we put in $3,500 to Hanson with no match for insulating the building that they do their practice. So that's just progress report. Busy year so far. So the community development document for the ambulance. Deb, you attended the meeting?
That's here, and we have a problem.
Okay.
Reed, do you want to come up?
Sure.
Last year, 15,000 was dropped down into the equipment account. For some reason, you spent 1,492.80 out of there, so the account will be short the matching amount of money that we need in order to sign this.
By the $1,400 and some dollars.
Yeah, so Brent will need to try to find where to find that money to go into the funding. I believe there's a law in the books that says we can't knowingly enter into a situation where we're spending money when we don't know, or when we know the money is not there.
So do we don't even know what the match is going to be yet, though, do we? That's all speculative.
Because
No, our
the
match
rest
is
of that match you
85,000.
have set up for this year.
But we don't know.
We had signed a commitment that we would have $85,000 available. It may actually be less, but we have to be prepared to match 85,000.
How much?
85,000.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
That's what I recall.
Yep, that was
In
the
fact,
kind of-
I think it's in this.
It is in that.
It is? Okay. So I think we need to table this just until Brent can look it over.
We transferred money over that is going to be available later this year for this
Right.
grant, correct?
Right.
Okay, are you including, is the 1,000 short, including the amount that's going to be available later this year?
It was set up with 15,000 last year, and the remainder was coming out of this year's budget
Okay,
for a total of 85,000. So out of last year's 15,000, an expenditure occurred of $1,492, which shorted part of
so
that 15,000.
70,000 is going to be available under this year later. I just want to make sure we're, okay.
Yes.
So the amount we're short is from the amount they're supposed to carry over last year into this
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he can find an account. He may have to ask another department to give up some funding to cover this. I don't know.
Well-
Elected officials, he could also approach them and see if any of them have enough money in the equipment account that could cover this.
I do know that with the firefighter grant, and we'll need to go back and see where that was really budgeted for. We had planned on $15,000 for that match for the Assistance to Firefighters grant, because last year it was advertised as a 25% match. In reality, it was only a 5% match. So we had, I had requested that we budget $15,000 for that, but we're only going to be using $5,000. So there should be a $10,000 variance in the budget process for that firefighter grant that we're not using those funds. So that's one place to
Look
look.
at the minutes and see if we anticipated taking that out of courthouse general.
I'm not sure where you were taking it out.
Yeah, I don't recall either.
But if you go back and look at that spreadsheet I showed you last month, I showed that the variances, we budgeted $15,000, we're only using $5,000. So that may be where we can pull that from.
Well, and I've got $2,000 in contractual we're not going to spend this year that was for to integrate our health record to the dispatch system, and we're not even going to be able to do that this year. So if we can transfer that
So
over,
you
that'd
can
be
transfer 1,492 down into your equipment
from contractual.
from contractual. Yeah, that's a solution.
And then I'll have to look into what happened there.
Okay.
Because I am concerned
It
of,
may be
you know,
that
what,
something that,
what did we do there?
yeah, it may be something that the county treasurer can do a transfer on if there's another place that would be more appropriate for that to have been billed to. So,
And I'm fine with
Oh, okay.
tabling until you have all the answers,
but
that's,
I haven't
I
had
don't think we
time
have
to
to
look
have
into
that.
and that should really be the chair's job to do, so.
There's no urgency for us to execute that, or what did they have to have?
There is a
response?
date, I believe we have until May to go forward with this. Yeah,
So-
but Karina said everything is in place. This is the next step that we need to
Okay.
do, so.
So it's whatever the board wishes to do. If you want to wait until you figure that out, then we can go forward another time.
Okay.
Very good.
And we have plenty of time, we don't need to get the agreement back till May. Just
Right.
wanna make sure.
Right,
Okay. So we'll table this for 2 weeks is all.
okay.
Okay, that's all I
Okay.
got. Any questions for me?
Okay. Lila has a paper.
I'll just get a signature, sorry. Each year, county health just goes for small little grants, and I have to go ahead and finalize by March 15th, and that's your next commissioners meeting. That's kind of cutting it close, so I have it ready. If I can just get a signature, I track a little bit of immunization money, public emergency preparedness, and we get one for just maintenance in the office. It's called state formula. So here is the form. I don't know, and he's gone. Somebody could sign. We just do this every year, and it's a little bit, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, absolutely. You must have heard us talking about you this morning.
Oh, no, I didn't, but,
Our health nurse.
great.
Our school nurse. I don't know what else, but you did a lot of things.
I was looking, I got that done this morning to get here. I called him like, whoo.
Can you see that we get a copy
This?
for the county clerk?
Sure.
Keep on.
Go in there.
Make
I'll
a
do
copy
it.
and lay it on the desk.
Okay, thanks.
You guys have a couple minutes?
You want a couple minutes?
Do you have a couple minutes?
Yes, you can have a couple minutes.
Not on the agenda, but we did get the iPads Friday. Took the training over it, so I was just going to show you some of the stuff that came on it. Some of these apps won't work, so we're not connected to the internet in here, but it's got a radar scope that will be live, because it can use the hotspot on their phone. Nothing on the radar right now, but that evidence camera where they can take pictures on the evidence scene and add notes to it and do a running photo log. These are just markers that they can set down on the ground when they're taking pictures. You just run through. So they always have markers with them. Sometimes we don't always have markers. They can make a photo lineup in the field. Smart Scene won't work without the thing, but it's got everything from the crime scene log to your photo log to your evidence log and everything there. This room planner is really neat. You can use it to get your measurements off a room. You can recreate a 3D model of a room.
For a crime scene.
For a crime scene. It's got a tiny scanner so you can take a picture of a document, like I did here before I came out. It's a letter from the AG's office about some changes in applied consent law. I have to turn it immediately into a PDF and send to a case file. Identified drugs, that we find in the field. The neatest one that I like is we're going to start using this every day, day to day. It's called Cop Logger, and it will come up. It starts their day. It's got the header here, so like when they They do different things, they just touch the screen, and ads, they're 1019, if they have a new call, the new call comes up, they can scroll through their call class, like a domestic complaint, enter into log, it's on there, they write a ticket, they add a ticket, so, 2 calls, 1 ticket, blah, blah, blah. We've been doing this on paper every day, and then they keep automatically email log once they get their email set up into this. It won't work on GPS because we're not, I doubt it works because we're not on wireless. And then we've got a whole bunch of buttons that we can customize to do different things, and it'll be our running log. You can also change the color of it if you want to. Here. So it's easier to see at night. We're going to buy mounts and have them mounted in the vehicles. So you can use this, it'll give us more accurate information on their logs, which is a real important thing. They can add a note. They do all kinds of different stuff with this stuff. Like I said, most of these, I can't show you how cool they are because they need the internet to work. So we are going to get the phones hooked up so they can be a Wi-Fi hotspot. But here's one through ATF. If you recover a stolen firearm, you can go through and do all kinds of different stuff in the system. We run a check. You trace a firearm to its last registered owner. It won't work because we're not hooked up. So just all kinds of neat stuff that came on it. This came from their used faculty iPads, the brand new cases. They came from Northwest Tech. And they're the ones that did the training on it for us Friday as well. So we paid $250 for the iPads, which is about what they cost. But we got all these apps, which some of these apps are $100 and some a piece for free. So
That was a good buy.
yeah. So that's, I just wanted to kind of show them off and show you what we.
How many did you end up getting?
There's 5. There's one for each vehicle. We'll have one in there. So everybody should have one. But I just wanted to kind of show it off. Like I said, I wish I could show you that room planner and stuff, but it doesn't work without a Wi-Fi connection. So that's all I really have. I just wanted to show you where your money goes. So, but if you guys don't have anything for me, that's all I have. So, okay. Well, you gentlemen have a good day.
Thank you. We have one more visit. No?
I think Dave had just a little bit more that he needed.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
He had a little bit more to talk to you guys about.
That's part of
Junior wants to go out there.
That should save
Get the food out of the field.
liability issues for the county when they use an instrument like that.
Well, yes,
Yeah, well,
if you're budgeting on going down the road.
That's where we're at. Wait for Roger to call us back and tell us when we can come up.
He
Sorry, guys, again, are we going to Hayes to be in it?
Yeah. Dave said he talked to Mark tomorrow.
Okay.
He's, one of the two will come up and interview Roger immediately when he's in.
Okay.
We're not going to the house to study, do it to us. And they have a plan.
Okay,
So,
great. Thank you.
if nobody's in here, I'll finish this.
Wait, the camera.
It's okay. I was gonna let you know we made an arrest, there may be another, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. I was gonna let them know we made an arrest, it's gonna be maybe another long term in the jail for a while we're waiting for court and trial and stuff.
This is the same one I advised you of,
oh, okay.
not a different one.
Oh, I was just gonna
Stuff.
say, 3 of them?
So, okay. And I do have a phone.
Okay. Here, let's get it.
Mr. Dave, what you got?
I'd say he doesn't know what the hell he's got.
Well, you put this on top of mine, no, I haven't read it, so. You're exactly right.
Coming up.
Okay.
Which equipment reserve?
This See, this is solid waste, isn't it? Or, yeah, that's solid waste for.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. Sorry. I was just gonna say, you got all that.
Yeah, that's right.